Hi there, welcome. Midnight Eastern, I'm not tired yet. It's SportsCenter, I'm Scott Van Pelt. A whole lot to get to. I'm already laughing. The best thing I saw today, I just want everybody out there, I want y'all, as this montage is running, I want y'all to prepare yourself. You're not prepared. You're not prepared. Wait, oh my God, you're not prepared. Look at Gundy's hair. He's like Eddie Rabbit, man. I thought he was going to sing I Love a Rainy Night. I thought he was going to start speaking in tongues and asking for pledges in the name of the Lord. Look at that man.
Spectacular.
Look at the magnificence of that flow.
A1 product.
I mean, look. Obviously, you don't need to, hey, Van Pelt, no bleep, I'm bald. I get it.
Speaking of, Scott.
Yeah?
I was wondering, what's the longest your hair's ever been?
I had some flow back in the day, like maybe, mid-'80s.
Like that behind you?
Yeah. Oh! Hey! Is this how we want to start the show? Damian Woody alongside. Man, we were prepared to have some fun tonight, talk some Islanders and do that, and talk about the Browns and the way things might break for them in the second half. But all of that is moved to the side. In all of your time in the league, and you saw a lot and accomplished a lot. You ever seen anything like this?
I've never seen anything like that.
How do you react to it? The brotherhood that is. How do you react to seeing a guy do that?
I would have lost my mind. Basically how the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive lineman did it. Pouncey and crew, that's exactly what I would have done, because what Myles Garrett did was inexcusable. The fact that you rip a guy's helmet off and then you hit him upside the head with the helmet. Scott, I've seen a lot of things in the National Football League during my 12-year career, but I've never seen something like that.
I think anytime a helmet comes off and as a skirmish, everyone freaks out. But isn't there something of a code in you when a guy loses his hat that you say, you're not going to hit him with your fist, let alone a helmet? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, usually when the helmet comes off, everybody's like, whoa.
Right.
Okay, we need to chill. But, he just literally took his helmet and hit him upside the head. To me, that's like assault.
Right.
That's the first thing I said to myself was, that's assault on the football field.
And I think that in moments like these, particularly given what we do, you try to be measured and you try to ask yourself, what's reasonable? What's a reasonable reaction? But I'm with you. He hit a man in the head with that. Look, these things are heavy, man.
Right.
I have no idea. If you don't know, this thing weighs a lot. It's a weapon. Right. And Myles Garrett is a big man. Yeah, Baker Mayfield said it more calmly than I'm saying it now. But whatever the fine or the suspension is, it's got to be severe, because Myles Garrett has flirted with 15-yard penalties all year. That's one thing. That's dumb. This feels almost criminal to me.
One big thing.
Do you see it? The technician asked as I sat with my wife at the ultrasound. We'd been convinced our first child was a boy, how she was carrying the baby, wives' tales, what have you. So when I hear, do you see it? Well, I'm looking for it, right? But all I see is a blob, and she says, it's a girl. I was like, it's a what? A girl, huh? I dropped my wife back at school where she was teaching at the time, went right to my office at home and Googled how to raise a girl. I suppose I had convinced myself had it been a boy, I just would have taught him how to throw a four-seam fastball, handed him a beer and said, that's about it, son, you'll figure out the rest. My brother-in-law had a great line when I told him about the Google search. Scotty, he said, you wouldn't have any idea how to raise a boy either. It's not in a book. He's right. That little girl turned 6 today. She's smart and kind and beautiful. I watched her at the playground at school earlier this week when I picked her up, hair blowing in the wind on a perfect day, laughing and running, just playing with her friends. And I had a stupid smile glued on my face, the joy of watching a happy little girl in a moment that she forgot the moment she sat down in the car seat. It's all going too fast, I thought. You want to dig in your heels and fight that clock on the wall and make the moments last, but they don't. That's okay, though, because I'm filing moments away like the other day for later. And there's a real fear you have when you have children so late about the things you might miss. So maybe I'm more in tune with enjoying the time I have right now. I am greedy about making them all count. And I would just say this to any man out there who's about to become a dad for the first time. Maybe you grew up in sports like me. Maybe you're thinking you want a boy. And I get it. I do. That was me. And my sons are a joy to me. But let me tell you a secret, fellas. Root for them to tell you it's a girl. There's no greater love you'll ever know, and nothing that will change your worldview more than holding a little girl and imagining the world through her eyes, wanting to be for her the very best version of yourself, in the hopes that you might be worthy of the way she looks at you, being worth being adored by her. I ask her 10 times a day, what do you know? Daddy loves Lila, she says. More than you'll ever know, little girl. It's her birthday today. I got the gift, May 9th, 2013. You're with your family afterwards, and there's an understandable, a moment of joy there. But it's funny to me, man, you guys are still 8 games away from a title. It's interesting to have it expended this much physical and mental energy only halfway through. What is that moment like, that shared moment of euphoria with your family and your team?
I mean, Coach Kerr talks about it all the time. Winning championships is hard, and
right.
You can break down and analyze, our respective runs that we've had, and even when we went 16-1 in the playoffs, it was hard. And so, to know we've played 12 really tough games so far in these playoffs, and are moving on to the next round and can regroup and hopefully get healthy and keep pushing. You got to celebrate these moments because it's not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, especially if you look at our season as a whole and all the different storylines that have followed us. So we fought through it and have another clean slate in the Western Conference Finals starting next week, which is crazy.
Well, that fourth quarter was crazy, man. And listen, I appreciate you taking the time to come out and say hello. I have one request. If we talk again, see the mic, see the hand you're holding the mic in right now? Hold it in that hand, because the way you were holding it with your finger, it looked like you're giving me the finger. And I'm sure everyone's going to turn it into. Did you see Steph? He was giving SVP the finger. So you got to hold the mic in the right hand, please. That's all I'm asking.
I got you. I can't do that. I wanted to say, too, I appreciated your piece yesterday about raising daughters. That was unbelievable and hit home for me, obviously. And as a parent and as a father, too. So I appreciate you talking about how much your daughter means to you. That spoke to a lot of great fathers out there. Well, you know exactly what that's about, so you can relate, and I appreciate you saying that very much. So hold the mic in the right hand, and thank you. I got you.
Bad Beats history is being made.
Really?
This is the first time ever that we have not used football for part 2 in football season. That is how bad this was.
Oh, yeah, this one.
We got a couple 100 lost teams here, all right? We have a total, and we have a series of unfortunate events. By the way, Detroit, I give you credit. This crowd here, I don't know why you're there, but God love you. Gluttons for punishment.
Oh, man.
Total in this game, Steve, is 9.5. There are 2 outs in the top of the 8th, and 2 runs have been scored.
It's 2-0.
Trey Mancini, I applaud you, sir.
Should have been an all-star.
That's true. Ace Trey's Natty Boos. He has fought hard all year. That's home run number 32. Mancini puts the Orioles in front. It's 3-2. It's the bottom of the 9th. There are 2 outs. The Orioles bullpen is not a strength. That is Victor Reyes, and that is a home run.
Why are there not many people still there?
Detroit loves its Tigers. Steve, extra innings are not the friend of the under-better.
Yeah, but you got 2 scoreless from each bullpen.
We're to the top of the 12th. Rio Ruiz delivers in the clutch. Here comes Mason Williams and the Orioles.
This one.
Have a lead. The Tigers bullpen gets out without further delay. It's still 4-3. The total's 9.5. The Orioles bullpen, as I told you, not a strength.
No.
Paul Fry.
All 4.
Command lacking. Leadoff walk.
Look at that face.
2 batters later,
Oh boy.
Travis Demerit will double down the line.
Come on. They must have had fireworks or something after the game, right?
I don't know. I know there are fireworks coming in this highlight. Let's. Brandon Hyde decides
Put
to
him
go
on.
Intentional walk, and here comes Ryan Eads from the bullpen.
Come on, EG.
First batter that he faces with the bases loaded is another 4-pitch walk. That makes the score 4-4. The total is 9.5.
All right.
Anything that happens next,
Single,
that
walk,
results in a score,
anything.
means the under cashes. Anything that happens, a walk, a hit by pitch, a wild pitch, a single, a double, a triple, just not a home run. My God, it's a home run. It's not just a home run, it's a grand slam home run. And now there are 12 runs. There were 2 in the top of the 8th, and now there are 12.
That sums up the baseball season, though. Those 2 teams involved in a game like that, have at it. And keep taking the under. Morons.
Well, as Big Cat has said, we shout out our friend, life's too short to Bet the under. And as we've seen, your bank will be empty if you keep taking them. In any sport, just bet all the overs. Parlay them, tease them, whatever you want to do.
One big thing.
Nobody's told me anything, and I don't have a concern. I'll just wait and see. My key works on Monday.
I told you Sunday night the key wasn't going to work, and it didn't. After the Dan Snyder Caravan sped out of FedEx Field minutes after yet another embarrassing home loss, the end for Jay Gruden was a formality. They summoned him at 5 a.m. Monday morning. Man, if that's me, I'm going to go ahead and catch these Z's, and I will see you all a bit later. You can fire me at lunch. What difference does any of it make? And that's a question you could ask about this entire situation. Honestly, as long as the song remains the same at the top, what's ever going to be different? So far, under Dan Snyder, the team has been coached by the respected coordinator, Norv Turner, the respected NFL head coach, Marty Schottenheimer, who won his last 5 to get to 500, only to be fired after 1 year to be replaced by the college guy, Steve Spurrier, who called in his resignation from the golf course.
Not very good.
He was replaced by Redskins royalty, Coach Joe, who was under 500 and replaced by Jim Zorn, best described as the guy who would take the job. He went 12-20, just like Steve Spurrier, who was replaced by the coach who won Super Bowls elsewhere. Mike Shanahan got twice as long, 64 games, and he won twice as many games, 24. The symmetry is astounding. He was replaced by the up-and-coming coordinator who was fired after the 0-5 start. So if we're playing bingo, we've done respected coordinator, respected coach, college legend, organizational legend, guy who would take the job, Super Bowl winner, up-and-coming coordinator. What's left to try? The only coach that didn't have a losing record was Marty, and he was given exactly 1 year. It's never the owner or the GM, it's always someone else's fault. And that is a 2-decade summary of Dan Snyder ownership. So is the fact that FedEx Field has been co-opted by rival fan bases like an 82,000-seat banquet hall available for weddings, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, or NFL games. The last 4 home games has been completely overrun by fans of the Eagles, Cowboys, Bears, and Patriots. If not for them, it would have been mostly empty. Redskins lost all those games by a total of 79 points. Rock bottom isn't a moment, it is a seemingly perpetual state. And I've been trying to find the parallel for the systemic collapse that has happened here, and I just cannot. Snyder grew up there, the same time I did, when Washington was winning 3 Super Bowls in less than a decade. They were a revered franchise that was so intricately woven into the culture of the region. They bridged the racial and socioeconomic differences. They brought together all of the DMV. Season tickets had a waiting list, decades long. Now you can't give them away. Those 3 hours on Sundays in the fall used to be off limits for anything other than Redskin games. Now they're endured if they're acknowledged at all. And I see pieces about how Snyder and Allen must create a winning culture once and for all. What? This is the culture. It's 20 years of this. This is what they are. They had Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur in their building and let them go to become coaches elsewhere. Who are they going to convince to take the gig when everybody knows the score? The owner has said time and time again he would step back and let the football people do their job. But this spring he wanted a quarterback, so he took over the draft for the first round and he selected him. Meanwhile, GM Bruce Allen continues in his role, telling everybody just how close they've been to the playoffs the past couple of years. Then at Monday's presser, he's got the audacity to tell the world this.
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
Imagine taking liberties with reality like that, selling that line and thinking anyone but you buys it. He wouldn't have seemed less self-aware had he showed up to the press conference nude. Mostly, this is just an accounting, a repeating of the facts that will continue unabated as long as things remain status quo. Nothing changes because nothing ever does. It's a treadmill to nowhere. That last part, that's my opinion. And I'd love to be wrong. You want to bet against a couple decades?